Live.
Welcome to the Undrafted Uncensored cast of Pod. Hosted by Nick Archuleta. Mosted by Colin Zanker. And last but certainly is least, Joseph Goodwin.
Welcome everyone to the Undrafted Uncensored, a little Monday morning special where what I took away from yesterday is my favorite line that I heard. Violence makes my tummy tingle.
I must have missed that one.
That was the Kung Fu Panda one with the little bug.
Oh, in the commercial. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Nothing else in the game was appealing.
I told you it was going to be a crap game.
It wasn't a crap game. I thought it was a pretty good game. I liked how the defenses really made us all kind of eat crow.
Oh, okay. We'll get into it in a moment. Well, yeah. So, by the way, I think all of us we chose. Speaking of commercials, we all chose our commercials afterwards because I forgot to do it on the show the other day. I fucked up, but can we all agree that the best commercial was the Kawasaki?
No.
The Kawasaki with the mullets?
No.
Oh, what? Okay, what was better?
The mayonnaise one with Kate McKinnon.
That with the cat saying meow? No. Give me the mullets
with the
all
cat
day.
Dumping Pete Davidson.
That was funny, but the mullets was hilarious.
I don't remember the mullets.
Like,
it didn't stand
It was
out.
at the very start of the game. You got Stone Cold Steve Austin with the mullet, his dog, every time the Kawasaki drove by or whatever. It was Kawasaki, I'm pretty sure. Every time it drove by someone, they gave him a mullet. It was fantastic.
I don't know. I still stand by my mayonnaise one, but I'll pull up Stone Cold here in a little bit, and I'll rewatch it because I don't remember that one.
Joe, you have any favorites, or are you just staying muted? I don't know. Okay.
I mean, the truck hasn't moved, so it's still just this sound all the time. So I was just kind of waiting. Yeah, the mullet one. The mullet one was awesome for sure. That was really fun. The Kawasaki. They played it too many fucking times, but the first time, like a good neighbor, that was pretty good. It's neighbor. That's what I said. It's on the paper. This woman, she's in labor. That was great.
And then to have DeVito on there at the end for the Twins reunion too, which was good. Yeah. That was good.
Fucking Twins. Yeah, that was beautiful. I'm trying to remember any other. Honestly, just because I'm excited to finally give a shit about comic book movies again, Deadpool and Wolverine, think is my favorite commercial. Because that's the implications of it. That Kawasaki one was the only one that really got me excited for football.
Okay, now I remember it.
But Deadpool and Wolverine, I think, is my favorite one. Also, Disable mention the T-Mobile one with Aquaman was fucking awful, and they need to stop playing it.
Agreed.
I like that you said Aquaman, where I would have gone the guys from
Scrubs.
Yeah, Scrubs. Thank you.
Yeah, that one was.
Well, they're in all of them, and they're funny. Those guys are okay. Getting the guys from Scrubs together was fun, but then the Flash Dance, Auto Tune, no, all of that was just unbelievable. There may have been some
we're losing you, Joe.
Feelings towards it, but it made me not happy. That was the worst one.
Yeah, last year at least T-Mobile, the one with John Travolta in it, and those guys, and so that was good last year. This year they tried to remake it and they didn't do a good job. But
I just watched the Kawasaki one. I remember that one now. It was funny, but I don't know. I didn't find it as funny as mayonnaise one. It wasn't saying mayo. It was just the progression. I mean, I love Kate McKinnon anyway. She's always hilarious. So
Speaking of Kate McKinnon, I watched a movie after the game last night. The Yesterday movie, the Beatles one. Kate McKinnon was in it. It was actually pretty good. I wasn't able to finish the movie at least. So I
that's what she said.
No, you missed the other part of that one. But yeah, so I watched most of it, but it was funny. Kate McKinnon plays like a music producer. She's like the man or music manager. It was pretty good. I got to watch the last like 40 minutes or so of it. It's almost a 2-hour movie, but yeah, I don't know. I chose Doritos. Nick chose Pepsi, and
I was in a panic.
And well, we were all in a panic. So I was like, "Oh crap, it's about to start! I got to choose something." And I just had a text thing, X thing from Doritos. I was like, "I'll choose chips." And Joe chose insurance. I don't think insurance was even on there really at all.
I didn't remember seeing a Pepsi commercial.
And can Homes.com stop doing commercials?
Oh God,
please! There was one funny one, and it was when the champagne bottle went through the building. That was good. That was like the only funny part.
Yeah, the rest of it was there. I'm like, oh my God, like I get it. Like, you know, buying a home is a difficult thing to do, but my God, that was. I got bored with those.
That and Timu. I was like, oh, another one. Okay, I can go to the pisser now.
Yeah. I wasn't that satisfied with the commercials this year, though. I was really expecting a lot more, especially with the two heavy hitters that were playing the game. I thought that would have brought in a few more advertisers.
Yeah, I know it was a lot of the same, but I don't know. On to the game, I guess.
Yeah. So what did we say was the most replayed? The one I've seen the most is that State Farm Arnold Schwarzenegger one, most replayed. Just in the past couple hours of browsing shit on YouTube, and I couldn't sleep much last night, so I saw that one like probably 4 or 5 times. Do we have like a stat for that, or are we gonna do that in victory formation?
Well, we'll do that in victory formation.
We're not doing victory formation
this Saturday as I finish what I'm saying.
Oh.
And we'll see the most replayed commercials like we did last year for it.
Give me time to get some numbers.
Yeah, to see what really plays out. Because, you know, within the first few days, some people are kind of like, oh, you got to watch this one to see how bad it was or whatever. So some of the numbers, but when you're actually a few days out and people are consistently rewatching it, that's when you're looking at your real numbers, I think. Oh, speaking of replays, did anyone see the meme of Ludacris next to Ben Stiller in Dodgeball?
Well, no, I think that was Usher. The one I saw was Usher next to Ben Stiller.
Okay,
either way, it's
still, either way, it satisfies the point.
That whoever created that, whoever created that and came up with that, because I was like, this looks familiar. I can't remember what this looks like. And then I saw the Dodgeball meme, and I was like, okay, props.
Nailed it.
Good work.
Yeah.
Well done. You nailed it on the head, because it was exactly what I was thinking.
100%. Something like that, or like one of those, like
Tron.
Weird synchronized dancing costumes that you would see from like boy bands. I remember as a kid, there was some kind of concert. I remember the Backstreet Boys changed costumes like 38 fucking times. One of them was like football pads. They just did the same stupid dance shit. But it felt like a late 90s, early 2000s music video, which I guess is what it was, because it was Usher and Ludacris and Lil Jon. Alicia Keys. I don't
know. I think Usher killed it.
I think it was fine. I think Usher.
I think it was pretty damn good.
It was good for. I mean, as safe as the NFL is trying to play it now.
Yeah.
Pizza.
Not that. Yeah, hang on.
Yeah, Usher just feels like a odd choice. Like he's got a couple songs, but like I couldn't name 3. Almost, I couldn't have named 2 Usher songs until we did a little pool we filled out of like what the first song he was gonna play. Okay. I didn't know he did DJ "Falling in Love with You." I thought that was Jason Derulo.
The second mix.
Yeah, I just assumed that was a Jason Derulo song, but and the fact that he had those other guys come on stage with him was necessary. I thought Janelle Monáe did a really good job with her fucking guitar solo. That was pretty dope. Because she's just cool in general. But like, it felt like Usher was an odd choice to headline, but at the same time, it was fine.
I thought it hit.
I think it was better than the rapper one last year. Because even though I like those rappers better, the performance just felt weird. Something about it was just off.
Yeah. Last year was really clunky. This one felt really smooth.
Yeah, way better.
It felt like it was an actual show.
Yeah, exactly. And Usher did his thing, and he sang, and he fucking took his shirt off, and But yeah, like most of those songs I didn't know of his. I know, and then it turns out I knew DJ "Falling in Love."
Damn it! Sorry, my root beer.
Your smart comment. Your root beer.
My root beer club got here. Yeah.
Nice.
I said, can we get some respect? How about Alicia Keys?
Yeah, that was cool. That part was pretty sweet. I didn't know the song that they sang together, but that was cool. She showed up and
except that.
You remember that song? My boo?
No, I don't think I know that one.
My boo.
She didn't play New York.
That piano was something else, wasn't it, guys?
Piano? I didn't get past Alicia Keys.
Yeah, she looked pretty damn good in that poured into that fucking skin tight whatever the fuck corset and shit. That was
I didn't on it.
I didn't realize she was that thick. That was a good performance on her part for sure. Honestly, it felt like it would have made more sense to have Alicia Keys be the headliner, and then all of a sudden bust out Usher and Ludacris and Lil Jon and do No,
that would have been
really fun.
I see what you're saying, but last year they had Rihanna headlining it, so
yeah.
No, it was the rapper one. It was Kendrick Lamar, and
that was 2 years ago.
That's right. It was pregnant Rihanna.
Yeah, pregnant Rihanna, who started with "Bitch Better Have My Money."
Yeah, Bitch Better Have My Money. Yeah, that was a bold choice, but that was kind of fun too. See, she's got more iconic songs. I'm not a huge Rihanna fan, but at least I knew a lot of the stuff. But it's also just music tastes. I'm sure if they were a country person, I wouldn't know a fucking thing. Then with Taylor Swift, I'd know some songs from commercials. But I wouldn't really know too much. Which honestly, we're all pretty sure it's going to be Taylor Swift next year, right?
No,
I would.
I doubt that NFL couldn't afford it.
I would see what happens in between this season and next. But because Nick has a really good point because of how much those tickets sell for on the aftermarket. I mean, maybe the NFL wants to do that to jack up the prices.
Well, the draw alone
you do.
Of having people show up to a Taylor Swift concert that's also the Super Bowl, because that's what it's going to be for a lot of Swiftie people. To have that viewing, because especially if they want to try to do it, I guarantee you if they try to put it on a streaming service, they put someone like fucking Taylor Swift or someone that's going to draw more.
I swear,
shirts outside the venue.
Oh God. But I swear to God, if Kelsey and her are still together and it's the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and she's headlining it, I'm gonna lose my shit next year.
I feel like that's the only logical thing to do.
I will blow a gasket if that is. Oh my God! I mean, hey, I'm happy to have women watching football and more eyes on it. Yeah, it's a little much.
The woman to most of us is, you want to watch the game with me, and you know it.
Yeah, I want to watch the game with Blake Lively, but that's okay too.
Sure.
Either one. I mean, I'm not going against either, but
that's a random poll, but I'll agree.
She's in the box with her the whole time.
Oh, was she really?
Yeah, she's the other blonde.
Oh, word! I wasn't paying that much attention.
Yeah, she's been with her.
Swift, that's funny. Was Ryan Reynolds there too?
I didn't see him.
No, but he was there. He was there on the first game after their whole thing got announced. They were all there together.
Okay.
But yeah, I would just lose my shit if they're still together next year. She's the headliner. The Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. Oh,
it's in New Orleans too, right?
Is it? Is that? I'm not sure where next year's. I think you're right, actually.
I think next year's in Nolans. The Big Easy.
I mean, they have more. They might try to do something more southern for the music then, because it's New Orleans. But honestly, man, yeah, I feel like that has to be the thing. You know, I'm calling it now. Chiefs in the Super Bowl and Taylor Swift is the halftime show.
I'm gonna lose my shit. My shit. Yeah, it's in New Orleans next year, and then Levi's, then SoFi. It's the next three. Caesars Superdome, Levi's Stadium, SoFi. So 2 Californias and 1 New Orleans. Makes sense.
Harry Connick Jr.
Harry Connick Jr.
Does that if I'll go Harry Connick Jr.? Or do they go Pantera with Phil Anselmo? What is it?
I don't think they do either of those things.
Aaron Neville?
I would laugh my ass off and I would love it. But Super Bowl halftime show, Pantera. Oh man, I would know those songs. But that's not the point.
Your original Dixieland jazz band?
Oh man, I want to just go something ridiculous at that point. Now I'm just thinking of like Super Bowl halftime show stuff.
I was just talking about this at breakfast. Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
Yeah,
random as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, at that point, you just do an entire fucking ska show. You just do Boss Tones. You do you have Goldfinger. You
got No Doubt coming back too.
Yeah, all of it. You have like
Brian Setzer Orchestra
horn players by the time each band comes on and does their thing. There's just so many horns.
Big Bad Booty Daddies.
All of it. That's not really ska, but they have horns, so we'll take it.
Yeah.
Get fucking, you know.
I mean, Outkast has horns too.
Technically, just every band with
horns. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Nothing.
All right.
That sounds funny. I want Tool just so that we can have Maynard James Keening still not come out on stage and just put like a circular like screen around himself and just be weird and stupid.
They get through a song and a half.
That'd be hilarious. If we're thinking of random. I don't know what I would actually want anymore as a Super Bowl halftime show. I kind of just don't care. I'll take whatever.
I only like half pay attention to it, and I mean, not to be mean to the artist, that's like my time to like calm down for a minute because I've been watching the game, watching the commercials, and the halftime show is just kind of that moment where you get some food, get another drink, go to the bathroom, you know, things like that.
Where the 49ers decided they had to try and figure out how to get a first down again.
Well, no, they had to go over the overtime rules because they hadn't done that yet.
No, the halftime. I know. Well, I know they didn't.
I know
go
what
over
you're saying, Colin.
But they weren't planning on the half. See, they obviously didn't do that.
That's what I'm saying.
They did plan on how to get a first down for the first time since the first quarter or whatever. In the halftime.
You know what the worst part about this all is? One freaking point. You make a freaking PhD.
Yep.
We're not having this conversation. And well, I mean a little bit's on the kicker because he did kick it low.
Laces out.
But it's I mean he had that line drive too that I don't know how that cleared the crossbar.
The first one, the 55-yarder.
Yeah.
The record. Yeah.
That was then broken.
Yeah.
Subsequently, like a quarter later or whatever, 2 quarters later.
Yeah, broken, fellas.
It sucks that it came down to that extra point. Really, I mean, it kind of did because you never know what Mahomes would have done and how he would have directed that last drive. Also, if they were down by 4 instead of 3 and only needed the field goal.
And that's the most frustrating thing about that team too is that's when they show up. Oh, we got 48 seconds to move the ball 90 yards. Okay, let's play, guys.
Yeah. Oh shit, that's right. We're the Kansas City fucking Chiefs.
Oh, and I'm gonna pat myself on the back.
You're gonna pat your Mahomes?
Yep. I almost had it called with the Jennings talk of MVP, the guy showing up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Throwing a touchdown, catching a touchdown. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. He's going to be the MVP. And after I talked about him, I still didn't put any money on him being the MVP. I would have lost it. But if they won that game, he was the MVP.
Oh yeah. Sure. That was the risky bet that put my bet as I took like a couple different little $15 to win like $1,200. Just fuck it. Threw a bunch of stuff around. The problem was I was pretty sure Travis Kelce was going to get a touchdown. It didn't happen. But Juwan Jennings hit the over fucking by a long shot. My buddy Pete was like, that's stupid. Who the fuck is Jennings? I don't care about a blocking wide receiver. And I'm like, Pete, he's going to be on the field all the time. Like this guy is 14 yards. It was 14 and a half. So 15 yards. Like that's 2 catches for any receiver. And then he got the negative like 5 or 6 yard play immediately. And I was like, because they're all getting their shit ready to go to Randy Gradishar Hall of Fame. And I'm like, well, fuck it. I'll make a couple bets and see if I can make it happen. And Pacheco didn't score, so I didn't get one. And then Kelce didn't score, so I didn't get the other.
See, that's what I was talking about. Is like the defense, both defenses really came to play because we were talking about, these guys, Chris McCaffrey's going to run all over this defense and, they're going to have a hard time covering Kelce and, Isaiah Pacheco is going to have a game. I mean, in all reality, we got slapped in the face with defense.
Yeah. Pacheco didn't have a great game. He had okay, but it wasn't enough. Well, it was enough because they won, but like it wasn't what we expected, what we'd come to see from the past few weeks. They really did, even with a Dre Greenlaw going down, tearing his Achilles
right away
in the second quarter. Just running onto the field. Yeah, like first, second quarter, whatever it was. And that was a killer also, obviously. But no, they stepped up. They played well. They stopped the run. Their D-line really got some good penetration. But, it's just how it goes, man. You could tell the Chiefs were more prepared. They were more professional. Brock Purdy made some plays, and he kept plays alive that, probably would have gotten most guys sacked. But at the end of the day, he's a really good game manager is what you're getting out of Brock Purdy. And he can continue to grow and maybe take that next step in a couple of years. But you're on such a small margin. And like I kind of joked about before, not knowing the fucking overtime rules when you're going against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and they're a really good defensive team and you are too, that's a huge, that's like not running the ball when you're up 28-3. Kyle Shanahan keeps having these little things that are hanging over his head, and I feel bad for the guy to an extent, but also he's doing it to himself and his team,
So I just had to check on how I won one of my bets.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had 22 plus points scored in any quarter. They include overtime with the fourth quarter.
No,
send
it. Quarter got 16.
I was like, how did I get an extra $100 that I didn't think I had in here? Yeah, OT is included.
Oh, that's bullshit.
That's badass.
Oh, that's so funny. I was like, all my prop bets. I mean, how many times did they have a chance to rush for first down? The QB sneak that I sent you guys.
Oh yeah, I took that one for like a quick $5-10.
Yeah, that was a $5 for me too.
Yeah, I literally lost every single bet that I tried to make, even a couple little flyers here and there. I tried to take another smaller parlay just to try to get a couple $100, get my money back, the stuff that I was pretty sure was going to happen.
Yep.
And just load up the stuff that's not super unlikely. Leave out the Jennings, or I took the Brock Purdy total yards with the rushing and the passing, which he hit. And I took his rushing yards in one of them. I took Deebo Samuel unders. I said, no, I'm gonna leave all that shit out. We'll just go Kelce touchdown, Caffrey touchdown, fucking couple of the things. Yeah, no, fucking, and then I'm just gonna blame Kyle Shanahan because if he had deferred and let the Chiefs go first, I'm convinced that Pacheco would have scored, or Kelsey, and then the Niners would have scored, and then the other one would have got the other one, and I'd be going to see Randy Gradishar's Hall of Fame. Which I still might do because my buddy Pete's like, we'll fucking sponsor you, bro. We'll make it happen. You can come up with whatever. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I got so much stuff I have to handle before I can even think about that. My lease is about to come up. I got car problems. I'm tired of my job. The fan's great. It's my other job that I actually make money off of that I'm tired of. But it's like, I would love to just commit and say, yeah, this is going to happen. But I'm like, man. So,
well, I was going to say,
maybe I'll get a broadcast from Canton, Ohio. And Joe will be coming live from Randy Gradishar's Hall of Fame.
That would be dope.
But I make no promises, folks.
I was going to say, speaking of the overtime, sorry, Nick, I didn't know how long you were going to be gone, but speaking of the overtime, I think I'm not pleased with Shanahan's decision to take the ball first, but I'm also not really opposed to it. Like, I'm kind of neutral.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of uproar, but they made a really good point on the broadcast. It was either Nance or Romo that said, you know what? That defense just gave up a long drive to the Chiefs. They were on the field for a while, and they couldn't stop them. So you take the ball and you take control there. And I don't really have a problem with it. They did get lucky on that, what was it, third down on that pass by Brock Purdy where there was a pass interference penalty on McDuffie. I was like, it's not McFarland, it's not McDaniels, whatever. McDuffie. Yeah. So like they got lucky to continue that drive. But I understand where Kyle Shanahan was coming from and taking the ball. If that defense hadn't just given up a long drive and been on the field, then I would have definitely said, why the hell are you taking the ball first? You should know what you need to do since the new overtime rules are in place. You get the ball back no matter what. But I think with the way Mahomes was cooking there, like I don't think it really should be a controversy.
No.
And I think it has been turning into one. I don't know how you guys feel. I mean, Nick, obviously you just said no, but I think people are turning that into a much bigger deal than it really should be. Because I think it really was the right decision.
Yeah.
But
because I thought the same thing when it went up for the coin flip. I was thinking the same thing. Was your defense just came off the field? Do you want to send them back out there if you win? And I thought the same thing before. I think it was Nance that said it. Your defense just came off the field. Give them a break. Give them a spell. They've been doing decent most of the game, keeping them. I mean, they almost had them stopped.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it shows that it was probably the better idea. You send them out there. God knows how quickly they score, even though you're going to get the ball back. Now you have to score 7 instead of 3.
Yeah. But I think the problem was not necessarily the choosing to defer or to keep or whatever. It was the fact they were unprepared. It was the fact that the players didn't even know that was a rule, that no matter what, they were going to get a chance if they gave it up, or that no matter what, the Chiefs were going to get the ball one more time.
So if time expired, were they going to go into a second quarter?
Yes.
Yep.
That confuses me because it makes absolutely zero sense.
No, it's
the game has to end.
Yeah, you got it. It's the start of a new game until one team outdoes the other in a drive.
Yeah, I think
after the second drive.
Yeah, and I feel like it continues.
It could go
like it doesn't reset. I'm not sure on that, but like you wouldn't get to the end of overtime and then all of a sudden have to do a kickoff. Like no, the team would just still have the ball and it would just keep going. I feel
it's just like a second quarter, but there's no halftime, so they could have gone five overtime periods if it was field goal, touchdown, turnover, whatever, out on down.
Because once it happens once, that's it. They only get
one more score. Excuse me. So
they would have had just not score after each team scored once, maybe, or just not score at all. Because once each team has scored or had the ball once, then it's sudden death. So, but that's still possible for sure. You just got to score less. But no, I think it was just they weren't prepared. They didn't know about the rule. They didn't really understand how it worked. Kyle Juszczyk, one of the smartest guys in the league, well, they didn't, which proves they didn't prepare for this kind of eventuality, and they didn't go over it with the team. You know, Eric Armstead didn't know about it, that they were going to get a chance no matter what. They just knew this is how it's going to go. So I agree with in the sense of like, yeah, the defense was tired and kind of needed a break, and it was going to be kind of rough if they didn't do that. But they just needed to be more prepared in general and know what their strategy was going to be. And if it's we're going to take the ball first, then you need to have like a Shanahan style scripted, I'm talking Mike Shanahan style script almost to get into the end zone, because that field goal hurts you so much, especially when your defense is tired and you're playing against Patrick fucking Mahomes. So I feel like you need to be able to get that touchdown, or I don't know. It depends on the yardage too. I don't remember what the fourth down yardage was. It might have just been too far.
It was like 4 yards because they lost.
Ooh,
they lost a yard or two on the play on second down.
That's like right on the edge, but I think that and that's more.
Well, yeah, but then you go for it.
You
go for it. You don't score any. If you go for it on fourth down, you don't score any points. Then all the Chiefs need is a field goal from the guy who just kicked the 57-yarder.
Yeah.
You're
that's a bad spot. But at the end of the day,
you'd much rather take that field goal
maybe
and hope that your defense can stop them, or at least hold them to 3.
Maybe.
Because
but, that's the kind of personal thing. That part I don't think is a controversy. That's just personal preference. What do you prefer to do there? I feel like, but with that, the way the Chiefs offense was starting to gain momentum and stuff, I don't know if I would. You kind of got to put the whole game on that play to an extent, because I feel like no matter what, you're kind of screwing yourself over, and the chances aren't really that different because you're already at least on the other side of the field. So because they were relatively close, I feel like. So the Chiefs are going to get it on like 20 something. I forget exactly what it was. All those things matter a lot. If it's closer to the 30, Chiefs have a shorter field. If you don't get it, then you're almost guaranteeing them the field goal, and then you're kind of giving it away. So you have to get the field goal, but it's still just like, fuck it, man. At this point, don't let Patrick Mahomes have the ball at the end of the game. If you do everything in your power to keep him from having it, then that I feel like is your best chance. But again, that's just my personal preference. I'd rather just go for it. I think the biggest deal for college is, like I said, just not having a plan, not really having the players on the same page, and understanding that in whatever situation, we're going for it, we're kicking a field goal. This is why, we're giving the defense a break, so fucking get ready to go hit someone in the mouth, whatever. They just felt unprepared for the entire scenario. And, we can nitpick each little decision and what we would have done personally. If I'm playing Madden, I'm going for 4th and 4. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. It's
that's me.
About the 10, or they were right around the 5 probably if they would.
I think they were. I thought they were on like 15, 16.
Oh, then field position. Take it, yeah.
I don't remember. Anyway, I don't know. Hindsight's always 20/20. Shanahan did what he did that he felt would win him the game, because his defense had been stopping Mahomes and causing enough chaos that 4th and 1, and Andy Reid goes for it.
Yeah. Well, and even to go back to that last drive, I was going to say, I feel like Shanahan might have felt like he had gambled enough too on some of it, because they got lucky to get there. I mentioned earlier the penalty on McDuffie, and then also don't forget the George Kittle catch that barely got them the first down.
Yeah.
Where he Supermaned it across the line. Brock Purdy almost threw an interception on the first pass of that drive that went in and out of Deebo Samuel's hands. I kind of feel like, you don't want to give Mahomes the ball with the chance to win. I mean, basically, if they get a touchdown there, Mahomes has to get the touchdown and 2-point conversion to win it all. And who knows? Andy Reid might have gone for that. But I feel like when you're Shanahan, you also got to – we criticize Dan Campbell for all the times he went for it on that 2-point conversion. Like, well, just take the points there.
Take one, yeah.
Like, how many times are you going to test your luck against this Kansas City defense that we talked about was one of the best in the league, especially in the playoffs? So, yeah, I get it. You don't want to give Mahomes a chance to win, but you also don't want to give Mahomes a chance to win with an even shorter field, in my opinion.
Well, if you're on the other end of the field, it's not a short field; it's a longer field.
Not if he only needs a field goal.
Well, yeah, but I thought you said it was on like the 10.
Yeah, but if
so turnover on downs, they get the ball in the 10 or 15 yard line, so they have 85 yards that they have to go.
But they only need a field goal if you turn it over, so they don't have 85 yards to go. They only have like 50 yards to go because of Harrison Butker.
That's still more yards than if they were on the 30 and they only had to get to the 30 to kick a field goal.
To tie, but that's to tie it though.
Sure, either way, that's an extremely short field, and you're just kind of keeping yourself in that. Like, again, this is just my personal preference. I don't think Kyle was wrong for what he did. He just played it conservatively, and that's not the worst way to go because it was a tight, kind of grindy game. But no, I think especially at that field position means you should go for it, in my opinion, because you give them such a longer field. You back them up. It limits their options. It doesn't necessarily put pressure on them because you didn't score, but like it makes their score that much more difficult. And it's your best chance to win in the sense of like the field goal doesn't give you as much of a chance to win. It gives them a chance to reset and do a normal drive. And that, they drove down and scored because they're really good. But also you can't predict that one way or the other. I'm just saying that, especially short yardage, that far down, I'm going for it. But that's me. I don't think Kyle was wrong. I'm just saying I would have gone for it. I'm saying the Kyle was wrong for not preparing his team.
I think these guys should know that rule by now. It's been in place and it's talked about a ton. Like I don't know if that's on Kyle as much as players.
Yeah, he didn't practice it.
Well, they also said it in the coin toss. I mean, I know they're probably in huddles and stuff, but they also they said in the coin toss. I mean,
but if you don't know the rule by the coin toss, that's the problem.
And you could tell too, he wasn't playing for the quick points like we all expect them to do in the original overtime that we were used to. It's he was trying to fight for 7 points, and his offense just sputtered where they did, and you got to get something on the board because you can't give Mahomes an easy shot at nothing.
Yeah, and that's basically my point with that, not going for it on fourth, because if you go for it on fourth, then they have 50 yards to drive to get a field goal to win it. And in order for them to win it, then if you kick it out of bounds, which they did, they have to go 75 yards to win the game. Yes. Otherwise, it's a tie, and you still have another chance at the ball. That's kind of where I stand on that with that field goal. Which, I mean, I can see your point, Joe. Like, go for it and put the pressure on to make sure that you can't lose the game unless they go for 2. But I just feel like San Francisco's luck, like they tested it too much, and you don't want to test your luck because that would be a criticism. Why did you go for it on 4 downs when you could have kicked the field goal? And you give Mahomes only 50 yards that he needs to go. Like, that would have been talked about a lot more, I believe.
Yeah, to an extent. I think the problem is the same either way. The problem is they weren't prepared. The problem is they didn't know what they really wanted to do. They didn't practice it. They didn't go over it. The guys weren't ready. The coach maybe had some internal thoughts about it, but the team wasn't on the same page. He didn't have the shit prepared. When guys say they didn't even know the rule, they saw it on the Jumbotron and they're like, wait, that's how it works? Like, that's bad. That's a bad look on you as a coach. Like,
but you shouldn't have to explain the rules to your player either.
Weird little rule changes like that, but also you should just practice them. You should make sure that everyone's on the same page because these guys are focusing on a whole bunch of different other little things.
But you really have nothing to practice.
No, you do. You have
you don't.
Go over the scenarios. You have to in this situation. That's what the Chiefs did. That's what the Chiefs won. The Chiefs were ready. The Chiefs had those scenarios practiced. They were going over it.
2-minute offense is really what it comes down to.
To an extent,
2-minute offense, also your overtime offense.
You have to know the situation and know like how things have to play out to win the game. They did.
They ate almost half the quarter.
Well, but the quarter doesn't matter.
No, but I'm just saying. But they ate enough of the quarter that you're still putting pressure on the Chiefs anyway. And again, this is a team that thrives under pressure anyway. But you're at least forcing them to have to work a little bit harder, work a little bit quicker. And again, it almost
no, you're not.
But it almost worked because again, you stop Pacheco on that third down run. It's 4th and 1 at that point.
Yeah,
you
should have QB sneaked.
Yeah, jerks.
That would have been sick.
Selfish bastards.
Yeah,
but yeah, there was no time pressure on the Chiefs because no matter what, they would have just started a new quarter and flip field and gone the other way. I mean, maybe mentally seeing that and not having played some of these overtimes that go to a second quarter, you could have mentally felt that pressure, even though it really shouldn't be there as a player. I mean, I don't know. I would have to be on the field with those guys, and I obviously wasn't, to know what they were thinking and their mindset was, because maybe it is kind of a mental mind fuck, like, oh shit, it's overtime. There's 2 minutes left. We have to get this ball in the end zone now. And instead of oh wait, we still have it doesn't matter if we score on the next play or in 5 more plays because we start a new quarter.
Yeah, you've never even
rolls over.
Talked about this or considered this scenario. Whereas the Chiefs had gone over it a bunch of times and had experience, even only, in practice and simulation to an extent, but they went over all that shit. Like Andy Reid was talking about, I was watching the trophy ceremony thing that's happening this morning live on NFL Network, and he's talking about our analytics guy did a great job, and I'm sure their guy did the same thing, which he didn't, of going over all these scenarios, running all of these simulations, and then getting the information to us so we can go over it with the players and make sure everyone was prepared and on the same page for these kind of things. And you could see it. They just looked more prepared. They felt like they had a strategy and they executed it, where the Niners felt like
also a team that thrives under pressure.
True. Yeah. But the Niners felt more like, oh, fuck, I guess we're here now. Let's try some of this. And it wasn't quite as bad as the John Fox Broncos, but it just felt like one team was more prepared.
I don't know. It's hard to knock the 49ers when they did everything. They took the Chiefs as far as they could to that final round and that final bell.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just a matter of whether or not Shanahan paid enough attention to the rules. Again, they didn't, they ate most of that quarter, which seemed like that was partially playing into it. And I mean, you can only do so much with what you have. And when you abandon the run, one more of those series, if they'd have stuck with the run for one more of those series, we're talking a whole different topic right now. But he started getting away from the run again, and it keeps biting him in the ass. They're talking about how when they pitched it to CMC, how it looked like when TD would take that pitch from Elway around the end, and TD scored, but CMC still got a big chunk of yards.
That's fair, and I think part of it even goes back to earlier in the game too. Though it was, I don't know what happened between the first quarter and the third quarter, because what was it? They mentioned
the second quarter.
Well, yeah, there wasn't really much that happened in the second quarter. You heard them in the third quarter. They talked about, they're like, what has it been, 70 minutes or 2 hours since they've had a first down?
Yeah.
That was so bad for a while. I mean, I get the defenses were playing good, but you're not using McCaffrey. I mean, it was just, there was some bad football too. There were some bad moments. It's not like the whole game was good. I think this game, yes, it was cool because it went to overtime. Only the second time it's happened. And it was a close game, which makes it seem good, but it really wasn't.
I think it was good just based on the entertainment value, I think, because, again, we were all expecting this to be an offensive blowout. We were expecting the offense to just come out and run all over each other, all over the other defense. And we got two defenses that, stood pat and really controlled the flow of the game. And it's not going to be one of the all-time greats, but it's not going to be one of the all-time worst ones either. It's just right there. It was a good game. It was mediocre. It filled the void. And on to baseball.
Yep, it was one of the Super Bowls of all time.
It was one of them.
It was definitely one of these Super Bowls of all time. Also, can't call it a good game. Chiefs won.
Well,
amen to that.
I mean, Joe, we know you can call it a good game because you're the only one who picked the Chiefs. I know we're not doing victory formation.
Well, that part was I wasn't rooting for them though, but I picked them. I figured they were still going to win, but doesn't make me happy about it. I would have been happier if Travis Kelce got a fucking touchdown. Then I would have been pretty happy.
Yeah, I would have been too.
If that's the worst of my problems, it's not. But I'll be fine.
So, I want to, when we're talking about the Chiefs, and yeah, not happy because they won it. So I titled this New Divisions because I had a thought as we were starting this.
Oh, God.
It sounds bad.
We are now the AFC North.
No,
dude,
what are you doing?
Or East. Sorry, not North, East.
That's even worse.
No.
Yeah, because if you
think we're in the west part of the country.
Yeah, well, no, I know, but what I'm saying is that we're the old AFC East, where it's Patrick Mahomes, and then it's everyone else. And it was Tom Brady and everyone else. That's what the Broncos are in right now. The Broncos are in a phase where they're going to get Tom Brady, now Patrick Mahomes, for the rest of his fucking career until he goes to Tampa Bay to finish his career out. The way the Chiefs won this Super Bowl after such a shitty season, tell me how the Broncos are going to overcome this team. And just like we had to say, how is any team going to beat Tom Brady in New England besides him tearing his ACL?
By having more points at the end of the game than he does.
It takes a whole season of more points for that to happen.
Quarterback and not Sean Payton at the helm.
How many times? I mean, how many times was it? Oh, this team's going to dethrone the Patriots. How many times are we going to say this team in the West is going to dethrone the Chiefs? And it's just not going to happen.
Broncos did it a couple times.
I'm talking about divisions. When did the Bills do it? When did they win the division over Tom Brady and dethrone him? Not often. And then when did he beat their asses in the playoffs?
Yeah, well, the Bills didn't make the playoffs when Tom Brady was playing with the Patriots. The only time they didn't make the playoffs was the Matt Castle season. The Dolphins won the division with the Wildcat Chad Pennington offense. That was really fun.
Like one win more. Matt Castle almost led them to the playoffs.
Yeah, 2008. Were they like 11-5 and they missed it or some shit like that? Like it was crazy.
Yeah, 11-5 and 10-6
really
or something.
Good. Yeah, that was kind of funny, but yeah, to an extent, it does feel. I mean, the Chargers have a better quarterback than anybody in the AFC East ever did against Tom Brady. But
is it going to matter for any of these teams in the AFC West, though?
Well, no, because the Chargers don't have a home. They only play away games because they don't have fans.
I mean, you can say the same thing about Miami too in some cases.
No,
they have some trouble getting some fans. There's a lot of visiting fans in Miami, a lot too.
Oh, for sure, because everyone lives in Miami. But like, that's not. It's
not the same. No, I know, but
not nearly as bad. And then the Raiders are just perpetually mediocre, and sadly, so are the Broncos. We're praying that we can get a rookie quarterback to maybe pull us out of this, and just start to really build anything that can compete with Patrick Mahomes, because the whole solid defense, journeyman quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater route didn't fucking work. The young cheap gunslinger and Drew Lock didn't work. So, and there's also there's a whole lot of other things that went on there. So that's not too far off. The worst part is that the Broncos aren't even the top contender against the Chiefs. It's still, I think, the Chargers, even though they don't get home games. So the Broncos aren't even like the Jets in this scenario. They're like Buffalo.
But you literally, yeah, that's right. And you literally just said the same when you went over those teams.
Mhm.
Miami is San Diego, Los Angeles, the Chargers. You know, the no home team. You have two other fan bases in the Raiders and the Broncos, which are the Bills and the Jets fan base. And then you have the Chiefs that just keep winning the damn division.
Yeah, that are just really good. But
and some of those teams weren't terrible that they were going up against, but they just had no shot against the Patriots. And that's what this AFC West is now.
There was 2002 and 2008.
2002 was
the Raiders and the Bucks.
This is Super Bowls.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about their division.
We're talking about the division.
I'm just trying to find some kind of light out there, okay? And then the Steelers and the Cardinals.
Okay, so that's 6 years. Okay, and how many times have the Chiefs been in the Super Bowl the last 6 years?
A bunch.
4? Is that 4 out of the 6?
Yeah, 4.
Yeah. So that's
about the same. That's about the same thing.
Yeah, the Patriots didn't make the Super Bowl every time. They just won their division every time. You know, the second best team in the division was pretty much always the Jets with, Rex Ryan and fucking Mark Sanchez and all those guys. And then even a little bit later with Todd Bowles, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Brandon Marshall. Also, how funny is it that Brandon Marshall said that Jay Cutler is the worst quarterback he ever played with?
Yeah.
Because of the potential wasted. And he said that Ryan Fitzpatrick is the best quarterback he ever played with. Just phenomenal logic there, Marshall. But yeah, like that was the team that had the best chance and never really could do it. So that's like I said, the Broncos aren't even that. That's the Chargers. The Broncos are like Buffalo, where they just or Miami, where they just never really did anything. There was that one year that Miami had at least, but that was mostly just because they had a resurgence and
they did something the NFL had never seen before.
Exactly. And they got bounced in the first round.
Yeah. So and they got smoked in the first round.
Yeah. Well, the Ravens, that was the year that Ray Lewis and them and Joe Flacco won the Super Bowl.
That's right. Yeah. I couldn't remember that it was that year, but yeah, I remember them getting just absolutely obliterated in the first round.
Yeah. They got, or no, I think the Ravens might have lost to the Steelers. It might have been one of those 10-6 championship. I don't remember now. But either way, the Ravens smoked the Dolphins, that was for sure. But yeah, dude, it's been feeling that way for the past few years anyway, So
I'm gonna edit that out for PETA.
Smoked dolphin.
Do it again. I do not condone Nick Archuleta's cravings.
Sushi. Oh.
Hey, I don't care if my tuna's not dolphin safe. They could see the net.
Yeah.
I can see them that.
Yeah, they're supposedly the second smartest species on the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't avoid a net. Come on.
Right?
It's just natural selection, all right?
Oh, man. All right. We've got a few minutes left, so let's transition to the finale part here.
The finale.
All eyes shift to the other 3 sports now. Nobody cares about football anymore, at least until April. And then in April, we'll care again for a few weeks.
No, we got free agency first. We'll care a lot.
I don't know if the Broncos are going to be doing a whole lot of free agency moves.
No, but the Chiefs will, Chargers, Raiders, the Broncos will be making huge moves in terms of deciding their quarterback.
Releasing, yeah.
So that's going to be what we're going to look at, because there's going to be all the people that are going to be like, well, if they keep Russ, maybe he kind of no. And then they got to figure out who the next guy is going to be, at least until the draft happens, because they're going to have a backup plan.
It's Jared Stidham.
I hate that,
but that's what it is. That's why they signed him. Yeah, he's got 2 years and whatever, 8 million or 10. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
he's the court. Besides Russ, he's the quarterback. They gave him the 2 starts at the end of the season, and I actually kind of fully believe that the Raiders thought that they were going to roll into this next season with Stidham, like this season with Stidham too, until the Garoppolo thing happened. and he became available. I fully believe that that's what their plan was. So not saying that it can't change for the Broncos because it did for the Raiders, but
yeah, I don't think it's Stidham. I think they're going to bring in somebody. I don't think it'll be anybody like overwhelming. I think it'll end up being, like I said, we've been saying the same number of guys. They're probably not going to get Baker. That'd be fun. Guys like Brissett, like Minshew, like fucking whoever. You could even go for like the more like journeyman backup, but like has played Taylor Heineke, pay him very little money and just have a guy that's played quarterback decently before. I think they'll bring in somebody. Yeah, Jameis Winston, that was one I couldn't think of that they talked about in the fan a lot, which was kind of funny.
Whatever happened to Chip Kelly?
What's up?
So whatever happened to Chip Kelly?
He just got signed as the offensive coordinator for Ohio State.
Huh.
He left UCLA and went over to Ohio State to be their OC.
I don't think he realized they were going to the Big 12.
You can say that a lot about Chip Kelly not realizing stuff about things. But yeah, I think they'll end up going for some random underwhelming guy that'll, someone that's like, when we all wanted Teddy Bridgewater like 3 or 4 years before we actually got Teddy Bridgewater. And then by the time he came here, felt like it was just too late and it didn't really work out. That's what we're going to get. We're going to get one of those guys that's like, oh, fuck. Yeah, Minshew a couple years ago would have been sick. Now it's still kind of fun, but it doesn't feel good.
Speaking of too late, Nick, what did you want to get into on the other sports?
Nothing really. I was just saying it's time to focus our attention there now for a while because Joe's just going to complain a lot, and mostly
I would never.
The Nuggets and Avalanche, as long as they can stay afloat, have potential to bring in a championship to Denver again.
That's very true, but we do still have football. We have the Spring Football League, guys.
What is it? The US?
USX?
UFL.
NF.
UFL, thank you. USFL.
NCIS.
No, it was the USFL.
And the XFL combined. I thought it was like...
No, it's a new acronym. It's like the UFL, I think. Because it's XFL.
Because it used to be the USFL.
I know.
Now it's just UFL. That's what I'm saying.
I think so. Yeah, that's what I just said too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's just UFL because USFL and XFL combined.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the United Football League. So we got football and we got some guys who will be on rosters this fall.
Yeah, and
we had Pick'em.
Those games are really fun to watch.
They are. I hope they stay the same way they did last year, or with improvements. But I hope they stay the same energy that they brought last year.
I want beer snakes. I also love the innovations of football in general that come from these leagues. The fucking Sky Ref, the head ref being in a fucking booth with an Xbox controller, and he can look at everything and not have to be all like, well, we're not really sure, and we're tired of everyone saying that we get calls wrong, and so I don't like criticism. Like, no, just fucking look at a camera screen and get it right and move on. Some of their kickoff stuff is a little weird but fun, and little overtime rules and shit like that are kind of different, and it's almost like an alternate format of the game from like a video game or some shit. Those are kind of cool, but there are legit innovations. Like I said, I want Xbox controller ref in the NFL. We could go PlayStation. It's fine. Whatever sponsor you want. Don't do Nintendo.
So they got it split up, excuse me, into two conferences, obviously. First one is the USFL conference, and the second one is the XFL conference. Yeah, I like that because those teams have been playing against each other the last couple seasons. And so that's going to really fire up some good rivalries.
It should make for a good championship.
Yeah, because you got Birmingham, Houston, Memphis, and Michigan in the USFL, Arlington, D.C., San Antonio, and St. Louis in the XFL.
Battlehawks.
Yes.
Houston. I think it's Roughnecks, or it's the other one. They combined the two Houston teams. They went with Wade Phillips as the coach, but they did the other team name from the other league. So they just kind of brought them all together. But I'm just going to root for Wade Phillips the whole time.
Thank you to Pikes Peak Sports Cards for sponsoring us. Also, thank you, Michael Spillane and everybody over at e5280sports.com for having our podcast on. Thank you, everybody that's tuned in today. We love you all. Happy almost baseball season. We got 2 more days. Pitchers and catchers report.
Let's go.
The best time of year, my favorite time of year, when baseball begins. So for Joe Goodwin and Colin Zanker, I am Nick Archuleta. This has been the Undrafted Uncensored. Until next time, we love you all.
I was going to cry about it, but there's no crying in baseball.
No, there's not.
We don't love the Chiefs.
We don't love the Chiefs.
Chiefs.